Hey Reddit, I, 29F, am in a really messed up situation and I need some outside opinions. I'm being pressured to donate a kidney to my estranged mom, 52F, and I'm about to destroy our family balance by saying no. Last month, we found out my mom's kidneys are failing. The doctors say she needs a transplant ASAP, or she'll have to go on dialysis, which isn't great long term. They tested me and my brother, Ezra 21M, and surprise, out of my mother's 2 children, I'm a perfect match and Ezra isn't compatible. The pressure to donate is insane. Ezra is begging me to do it, saying it's a chance to forgive mom and heal our family. He doesn't get that I don't want to heal anything. I wasn't the one who left. I wasn't the one who chose substances over family. Him asking me to save the mom he barely knew at the expense of the sister who raised him feels like a slap in the face. My dad, 54M, is not directly pressuring me, but I can see the hope in his eyes. He says he'll support whatever I decide, but it's obvious he wants me to do it. He's dreaming of getting his happy family back, and it's making me sick. Mom hasn't straight up asked me for the kidney, but every time I see her, I can feel the question hanging in the air. Part of me wants to yell at her and ask where this concern was when I was 13 and raising her kid. Another part feels weirdly powerful, knowing her life is in my hands. So here's a little backstory because you probably think I'm a vindictive bitch. But I'm not. 16 years ago, my mother left me and my little brother when I was 13 and he was 5. She was into drugs and just up and vanished one day, leaving us with our dad. Dad tried his best, but he had to work crazy hours to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads. Because dad was always working, I basically had to raise Ezra. At 13 years old, I was making sure he ate, helping with homework, and trying to explain why mom wasn't around anymore. It sucked. Big time. I missed out on being a kid because I was too busy playing mom. Growing up, I was angry at everyone. Mad at mom for leaving, mad at dad for not being around enough, mad at Ezra for needing me so much, and mad at myself for not being able to fix everything. I watched other kids have normal childhoods while I was figuring out how to stretch a box of mac and cheese into 2 meals. Ezra had it easier. I made sure of that. I wanted him to have as normal a life as possible, even if it meant I couldn't. I lied to him about why we couldn't afford stuff, pretended everything was fine when dad and I were freaking out about bills, and hid my own tears so I could wipe his. As we got older, it became clear how different our childhoods were. Ezra got to do sports and hang out with friends. I was too busy being a mini adult to do any of that stuff. This created a big gap between us that only got worse as time went on. Dad was doing his best, I get that now. But back then, it felt like both my parents had abandoned me. I know he had to choose between being there physically and making sure we didn't starve, but it still hurt. I spent my teens and early 20s being a mess. I partied too hard, made dumb decisions, and pushed people away. It took years of therapy to start dealing with all this baggage. When I met my husband, 31M, things started to get better. He's been super patient and understanding. But even with him, my past issues came up. When he first talked about having kids, I freaked out. The idea of being responsible for a kid brought back all these old fears. It took 2 years of therapy for us to get to a place where I felt okay about trying for a baby. We've been trying for 6 months now. Now, this was when my mother returned. Literally like an abandoned child at an orphanage, she just showed up on my dad's doorstep, bright and early. My father wasted no time before letting her in and calling Ezra and I in for a family meeting. My mother looked like a stranger. She said she was clean and wanted to make things right. I was skeptical as hell, but Ezra was all for it. He doesn't remember the worst parts of when she was using drugs, so it was easier for him to forgive her. I lived through it. My mother was my personal hell. Still, my dad encouraged us to give her a chance, which pissed me off. I could tell he was hoping to get back the woman he used to love. But I didn't stick around for their family reunion. I didn't even say a word to my mother before leaving. Over the past few months, while living with my dad again, my mom's been trying to rebuild relationships with us. She stayed clean, got a job, and seems sorry for what she did. But for me, it's too little, too late. I've been civil, but I can't see her as my mom anymore. Ezra, that stupid idiot, totally embraced her being back. He's always talking about the fun stuff they do together and how great it is to have a mom again. It makes me want to scream. It's like he's forgotten everything I did for him, everything we went through. I tried to focus on my life and not care, but, boom. My mother got diagnosed, Ezra was sobbing, my father had tears in his eyes, and I wished I was anywhere else but that hospital room. Sure, when the doctor explained the risks of dialysis and the extensive transplant list my mother would have to join, Ezra was eager to be a donor. I supported his decision, but when he got tested for compatibility, he dragged me along too. And I turned out to be the perfect match. I stormed out of the hospital immediately, refusing to sign the organ donation form. Why should I have to sign it? Now, my brother and my father are saying I have a heart of stone and an unforgiving spirit. They're ignoring me and rallying around my mother instead. My husband's been great through all this. He says he'll back me no matter what, but I can tell he's worried. He's concerned about the surgery risks and how it might mess up our plans to have a baby. Plus, he's seen how hard I've worked in therapy and doesn't want this to undo all that progress. To make things even crazier, my aunt, Mom's sister, 50F, just called me tonight. She hasn't forgiven my mother for abandoning everybody either, and what she told me was a revenge of some sort. Turns out, when Mom left us, it wasn't just because of the drugs. She'd been cheating on Dad with a married guy and got pregnant. She left to have the baby and a new life, using the drug addiction as an excuse to bail on us once and for all. I honestly don't know how that turned out or why she returned, but finding this out has ripped open all the old wounds. Not only did Mom abandon us, but she left when she had a choice to stay. I have a half-sibling out there somewhere that I might never meet. I haven't told anyone else in the family about this yet. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Knowing this secret, plus all the pressure about the kidney, is driving me nuts. I'm up all night, thinking about my crappy childhood, wondering if I missed some signs. I'm questioning every sacrifice I made, every bit of my youth I gave up, comparing it to what I now know about why Mom really left. Ezra has no clue about any of this new info. He keeps pushing me to donate the kidney, talking about family duty and how this could heal everything. But all I can think about is how he got to have a childhood while I was busy being a parent to him. Dad doesn't know either. I can tell he's getting all soft about Mom again, and it makes me want to shake him and remind him of all the crap we went through because of her. I'm so torn. The thought of having major surgery and giving up an organ for someone who chose to ditch me is almost too much. I think about the risks, how it might mess up my chances of having a baby. I've already given up so much for this family, my childhood, my chance to be a normal kid, my sense of security. Giving up a piece of my body feels like way too much. I'm now the villain. So, Reddit, what's the verdict? Ida for refusing to give my kidney to my estranged mom? Am I being too hung up on the past? I feel like I'm the only one who remembers how bad things really were, the only one who paid the real price for Mom's choices. I'm drowning in this decision. Every choice feels wrong somehow. How do I handle this impossible situation without completely losing my mind? Help me out here, Reddit. Update 1. Hey Reddit, I thought no one would engage on this post and I'd planned to take it down after 24 hours. But the amount of upvotes and comments that this is getting is insane. First, I just want to thank everyone for their comments and input on my situation. I've been reading through everything, and it's given me a lot to think about. I appreciate those who took the time to understand my perspective, but I've got to be honest, some of the comments telling me to forgive and forget have really gotten under my skin. To the person who quoted Ephesians 4:32, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you, I get it, forgiveness is a nice idea. But you know what? Sometimes forgiveness isn't as simple as a Bible verse. My mother's actions didn't just hurt me for a day or a week. They shaped my entire life. I lost my childhood, my sense of security, and my trust in the people who were supposed to protect me. That's not something you can just erase with a few kind words and a hug. And to all those saying, but she's your mother, biology doesn't automatically earn you respect or love. My mom gave birth to me, sure, but I'm the one who had to grow up too fast, who had to be a mother to my little brother when she couldn't be bothered. Where was all this family is everything talk when she was out getting high and leaving her kids to fend for themselves? Look, I'm not trying to be bitter or vindictive. I'm trying to protect myself and the life I've built despite everything she put me through. Some of you have suggested therapy for the whole family. We tried that when she first came back. It didn't magically fix everything. My mom cried, said all the right things, but it didn't undo years of abandonment and struggle. A lot of you have pointed out the risks of kidney donation, and I appreciate that. It's not just about the surgery itself, but the long-term effects. What if I have complications that affect my ability to have children? What if I need that kidney later in life? Am I supposed to sacrifice my health and potentially my future for someone who didn't think twice about sacrificing me? I've talked to my husband about all of this. He reminded me that it's okay to prioritize my own well-being, that I don't owe anyone a part of my body, not even my mother. We're still trying for a baby, and the idea of jeopardizing that for someone who's been more of a stranger than a mother. It's just too much. The pressure from my family hasn't let up. Ezra's been blowing up my phone with texts ranging from guilt-tripping to outright anger. He even had the nerve to say that if I let Mom die, I'm no better than she was when she abandoned us. That one hurt, I won't lie. Dad's been more subtle, but I can hear the disappointment in his voice every time we talk. It's like they've all forgotten what we went through, what I went through. And then there's my mom. She finally worked up the courage to call me directly. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was, it was hard to listen to. She was crying, telling me she knows she doesn't deserve my help, but that she's scared of dying. Part of me wanted to comfort her, but a bigger part remembered all the times I was scared and alone because of her choices. I still haven't told anyone about what my aunt revealed, about Mom's affair and the baby she gave up. Every time I think about bringing it up, I imagine the look on Dad's face, the way it would crush Ezra's newfound relationship with Mom. But keeping this secret is eating me up inside. It feels like I'm protecting her all over again, carrying the weight of her mistakes. I know this update probably makes me sound cold and unforgiving. Maybe I am. But I'm also tired. Tired of being the one who has to be strong, who has to sacrifice. For once, I want to put myself first without feeling guilty about it. So, that's where I'm at. Still torn, still hurting, still not sure what the right thing to do is. But I'm trying to stand my ground, to prioritize my own health and happiness. Even if it means being the villain in everyone else's story. Thanks again for listening, Reddit. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but knowing there are people out there who understand, even a little bit, helps more than you know. Update 2. Hey Reddit. I know it's just been 2 days, but I'm back with another update, and things have gotten even more messed. So, remember how I mentioned Ezra had been blowing up my phone? Well, he decided texting wasn't enough. Yesterday, he showed up at my apartment unannounced. I was at work, but my husband was home, working on some projects for his job. According to my husband, Ezra burst into our home. He was ranting about how Mom's condition is getting worse and how the doctors are saying time is running out. He demanded to know where I was, saying he was going to drag me to the hospital himself if he had to. My husband, bless him, tried to calm Ezra down. He explained that I was at work and that this wasn't the way to handle things. But Ezra wasn't having it. He accused my husband of turning me against my family, of poisoning me against Mom. Things got heated, and Ezra actually took a swing at my husband. Thankfully, my husband managed to dodge it, but he had to physically restrain Ezra to keep him from tearing the apartment apart looking for me. It got so bad that one of our neighbors called the cops. I got home just as the police were leaving. My husband had a bruise on his jaw where Ezra had managed to land a blow, and our living room looked like a tornado had hit it. Ezra was gone, having left when the cops showed up, but the damage was done. I was in shock. This wasn't the little brother I raised. This wasn't the kid I'd sacrificed everything for. It was like looking at the work of a stranger, and a violent one at that. I called Ezra, hoping to talk some sense into him. I didn't raise him to be acting this way. Big mistake. He picked up and just started screaming at me. He called me every name in the book, accused me of being selfish, of not caring about family. And then he said something that I don't think I'll ever forget. If Mom dies because of you, I'll never forgive you. You'll be dead to me, just like you're letting her die. I hung up. I couldn't breathe. It was like all my worst fears were coming true. The brother I'd raised, the one person I thought would always have my back, was choosing Mom over me. I broke down. Full on, ugly crying, couldn't catch my breath breakdown. My husband held me through it, but I could tell he was shaken too. This whole situation is tearing us apart. To make matters worse, my dad called this morning. Apparently, Ezra told him a twisted version of what happened at our apartment. Now Dad thinks I set my husband on Ezra, that I'm the one causing all this drama. He actually had the nerve to say that if I'd just stop being stubborn and donate the kidney, none of this would be happening. I lost it. I told him everything. About Mom's affair, about the baby she gave up, about how she chose to leave us, how it wasn't just the drugs. I told him how I've been carrying this secret, protecting Mom even now, after everything. I told him how angry I was all my life. And it was also his fault. There was silence on the other end of the line for what felt like forever. Then I heard a sob. My dad, who I've only seen cry maybe twice in my life, was breaking down. He kept saying he was sorry, that he didn't know, that he should have been there more. I felt awful. In trying to defend myself, I'd hurt him all over again. But a part of me was relieved too. Finally, someone else was carrying the weight I'd carried all my life. After we hung up, I got a lot of texts from Ezra. Dad had called him, told him everything. Ezra's tune has changed completely. Now he's apologizing, saying he didn't understand, begging me to forgive him. But I don't know if I can. The things he said, the way he acted. It's not something I can just forget. Mom's been blowing up my phone too. I think Dad must have confronted her about the affair back then and the baby. Her messages are a mix of apologies and pleas for understanding. She's saying she was young and scared, that she's changed. Young? Really? My brother and Dad are still understanding, taking care of her daily. But all I can think is, where was this understanding when I was young and scared? I feel like I'm drowning. Dad's a mess. Mom's health is deteriorating. And me? I'm just trying to keep my head above water. I don't know what to do anymore. Part of me wants to run away, to disappear like Mom did all those years ago. But I know that's not the answer. I've spent too long picking up the pieces of her mistakes. I won't make the same ones. For now, I'm taking some time off work. My husband and I are thinking about getting away for a bit, just to clear our heads. I've blocked everyone's numbers except for Dad's. I need space to think, to figure out what I want, what I need. I don't know if I'll ever donate that kidney. The way things are now, even if I wanted to, I don't think I could handle being in the same room as my family long enough to do it. So that's where things stand. My family's in shambles, my brother's shown a side of himself I never knew existed, and I'm left wondering if there's any way to fix this mess. Or if it's even worth trying. Thanks for listening, Reddit. I don't know if I'll update again. I might even delete the original post, but right now, I just need to focus on healing, not just for my mom, but for myself. Final update. Hey Reddit. It's been a while since my last update, and a lot has happened. I'm writing this from my home, 3 months after the surgery. Yes, you read that right. I donated my kidney to my mom. I know this might come as a shock to many of you, given how adamant I was about not doing it before. Believe me, I'm still processing it myself. But I want to make one thing clear, this was my choice. Nobody pressured me into it. Not my dad, not Ezra, not even my mom. After my last update, my husband and I took that time away I talked about. We rented a cabin in the mountains, no cell service, no internet. Just us, nature, and a whole lot of time to think. Being away from the chaos helped clear my head. But I kept having nightmares, and I knew that if I didn't at least try to help, I'd never forgive myself. The thought of my mom dying, of having that on my conscience. It was too much to bear. I realized I wasn't just angry at my mom, I was angry at the world, at the unfairness of it all. And holding on to that anger was hurting me more than anyone else. When we got back, I told my husband my decision. He was worried, but supportive. We met with the doctors, got all the information, and started the process. I won't lie, it wasn't easy. The surgery was tough, the recovery tougher. But you know what? I don't regret it. Not because it magically fixed everything, it didn't. But because for the first time in years, I feel at peace with myself. The day of the surgery, I saw my mom before they wheeled us in. She was crying, thanking me over and over. I told her the truth, that I was doing this for me as much as for her. That I forgave her, but I couldn't forget. That I hoped she'd get better, but that I didn't see a future where we had a close relationship. It wasn't what she wanted to hear, but she understood. I wanted to ask her about my sibling, but some things are better left unknown. We hugged, a real hug, not the awkward ones we'd shared since she came back. It felt like a goodbye, in a way. Ezra and I have started to rebuild our relationship. He apologized profusely for his behavior. It's slow progress, but it's progress. He's realizing that his memories of our childhood aren't the whole story, and he's starting to understand the sacrifices I made. Dad's been NY everyone's side through all of this. He's also dealing with his own guilt and regrets. We've grown closer, in a way we never were before. He tells me how proud he is of me, not just for the donation, but for the person I've become despite everything. My husband has been incredible. He was there every step of the way, from the decision to the recovery. Our relationship is stronger than ever. As for me, I'm healing, in more ways than one. The physical recovery hasn't been easy, but the emotional weight I've carried for years feels lighter. I'm not naive enough to think everything's perfect now. I still have my bad days, my moments of doubt. But I'm proud of myself for making a decision that was true to who I am, not who others wanted me to be. To those of you who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your words, your understanding, they meant more than you know. Take care, Reddit. And remember, healing is not linear and forgiveness is personal.